Jaydon, appreciate you joining us, man.
Yes,
First
sir.
off, coming off a big win on the road in San Antonio, just kind of give us your thoughts on how you feel like the defense performed.
I think we played to our standard, a lot of big plays, a lot of pressure. It was a big thing this week or last week for us in practice. Uh, Being able to contain the quarterback, get after the quarterback, and making him throw the ball, making it a one-dimensional game. Yes, sir.
And obviously, some big news this morning coming out, National Defensive Player of the Week. Congratulations on
Thank
that.
you very much.
When you think about that, and obviously I know how you are, and you're going to say it's a team award, and rightfully so, because obviously a lot of guys got to be in the right position as well. But when you think about it, how rewarding is it, fulfilling is it to know that obviously all the hard work you put into it, the blood and the sweat, to be able to be honored like this?
Yeah, it's very rewarding for sure. I mean, I can't even really put into words. I guess you say, like you said, a lot of hard work and a lot of adversity's gone through the past couple of years or few years even, and just being built off of that. And even if I didn't understand the adversities at the time, God did, and to make me the player man I am right now. And it's huge. I remember thinking back to myself last year, like I don't know why. I just remember I saw somebody get National Player of the Week one time, and I remember didn't really say a whole lot. Just kind of back of my mind, like being a goal of mine for sure. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Talk about kind of the mindset in the defensive, obviously the defensive meeting room when it comes to the run game. Obviously, you guys through 6 weeks, it's been one of the toughest teams in the country to run the ball on. Just talk a little bit about kind of the approach there, and obviously you being one of the leaders on the defense side of the football, and guys look to you for that.
I think it's constantly, every day, trying to dominate and being unbreakable. We, break it out to our defensive huddle before a drive almost every time, either dominate or unbreakable. And I think, like, we hold a lot of pride in that, and everybody in the defense would say the same thing. I would think so, that, we have a mindset that whether it's, they're backed up or they're in the red zone, like, they're not going to dominate us. Up front, they're not going to dominate us. We're going to make sure that doesn't happen. And, we're ready for anybody at any time and just playing all out. Like, we're willing to put our bodies on the line to do so.
Yeah, just talk about the defensive chemistry. Obviously, I know, like Jacob said, you guys have been really great against the run and just had a really solid defense throughout, the early part, halfway part into the season. And
Yes, sir.
Just talk about the chemistry in that defensive room.
Oh, the chemistry is big. We're all close. Those are my guys. Some of my best friends that would be in my life for the rest of my life, and I think that's a huge role. I think it started this summer, just getting closer to guys with you're not as close with, and it doesn't have to be, hanging out with them all the time necessarily, but having that relationship in the locker room is huge, and we definitely do, and we have a great time. I think that's, Carthel always says, let's have a good time doing it, and I believe that's what we try to do as well. Like, we're friends here, and it's a game, and as it is a game, and we may not ever always take it as a game. Like, it's more of a business thing. But I think us being able to become closer and have fun while doing it and have each other's backs, I think that's huge, picking each other up or expecting expecting more out of each other, every day.
Yeah, and then, you got the bye week this week, obviously, coming out of
Jack's week.
Yeah, Jack's week. That's right, Jack's week. I forgot from last year. Thank you for before Coach Carthel got on my butt about that, because he did it last year too. Jack's week this week. Just talk about the mindset going into it, and then obviously Nichols the week after.
Yeah, the mindset. Just how can we get better? What can we possibly do to prepare us for Nichols with, staying healthy, getting our legs under us, not necessarily enjoying the week, but understanding that we have a little bit of get to catch our breath real quick, and but same time, how can we get better and how can we improve with details this week, as well as continuing that mindset of unbreakable, dominating, and just ready to come out next week for sure.
I got one more for you. I'm gonna put you on the spot with this one. Obviously,
Yes,
it's your
sir.
birthday, so happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Where does this morning's honor rank as far as birthday presents that you've received over the years?
Number one.
Number one.
Number one, yeah,
Awesome.
for sure. I texted my parents and said, I guess happy birthday to me. And I mean, it's a great feeling, and it's an amazing day. Very blessed where God's put me, and it's all glory to Him for sure.
Awesome.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, Jaydon. Appreciate you joining us.
Thank-
Coach Carthel, appreciate you joining us. Obviously, some really good news coming off the media wire this morning for a couple of Jacks. Obviously, Jaydon Southard, National Defensive Player of the Week. Even Sam Bidlack earning the SLC Offensive Player of the Week honors. Talk a little bit about what it's like and how important it is when you see these veteran leaders on your team being awarded for obviously the things they do on the field, but knowing how important they are in the locker room and off the field.
You know, it's great for them to receive that recognition, well deserved, and it's great for our team. Those individual awards, those are team accolades, and I think our guys understand that. The players getting awarded understand that, and so it's a team celebration. It was this morning in our team meeting, because that means 11 other guys, 11 other guys, that'd be a penalty. But 10 other guys on the field are doing a great job allowing people to excel and put up the kind of stats that they had this week. And it's also a tribute, just to our program. You look at a guy like Jaydon Southard, National Defensive Player of the Week. I mean, that's what college football is about, is development. That guy had 0 starts coming out of high school, came here on a partial scholarship, earned a little bit more. He's now a full scholarship guy. He's a team captain. He's a single digit in his play. He's worked through some injuries and gotten better each year. It's a tribute to his position coach, Cam Rogers, Mike Moots, defensive coordinator, just pouring into that kid, and he's gotten better each and every year he's been here, and that's lost nowadays in college football a little bit. People, wanting the quick fix and the instant gratification. Not everybody sticks it out and develops into the player that they can be. So it's good to see somebody like that does it right. And then there's still some things that are right about college football. Good to see that rewarded in today's day and age.
And Coach, obviously you've had a couple days to kind of sleep on the win in San Antonio. What's some of your obviously big takeaways that you're going to be able to carry into Jack's week?
I think played really good team football. I think we've gotten better each week through the season. I think that's got to continue. This is the most important week right now. We've got 6-7 days to get better, to get healthy, and to improve. And so that's why we call it Jack's week. It's going to be an important week for us. But I thought we played some really good team football there on Saturday against UIW. Just the sequence of plays. You can see good plays. We made a turnover. We had a big explosive. But to see the offense and the defense and special teams complement each other, there were several sequences of plays. We started out with a turnover on the second play of the game. 3 plays later, touchdown. It's 7-0. That's demoralizing on that other end of the field. Early in the game, they tried to run the ball on our defense on 4th and 1 on their own 37-yard line. Found out that was a mistake, turned it over. I appreciate the aggression. I always believe if you can't make a yard on 4th and 1, you don't deserve to win the game. That played true, but not only did we just make a great 4th down stop, the very next play, boom, big ball touchdown. Oh, that hurts, And then they're in the I think it was late second quarter. We went for it. We got stuffed on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1, and there's some things we got to get fixed there. But defense came right back out and stopped them on the 4th down, and then 2 plays later, another big ball touchdown. And so just the offense and defense complementing each other, putting a sequence of plays together to really expand and stretch a lead. I was able to put that game away. That game wasn't as close as the final score showed. I mean, it was a dominant effort by our team. They played great team football, and just their mindset in that game, the way they took the field, had a chip on their shoulder, and that, kind of goes back to an old lesson I learned in farming, way back when from my granddad. he was a World War II hero. He fought in the Pacific Theater and Island Hopper, and he saw some things. He went on, he farmed for 60 years in the Texas Panhandle, and I was raised there on the farm my high school years, and he'd always talk about, farming's a wild way of life. It's kind of like coaching, you can do everything right, and, wind, hail, bugs, drought, you name it. Same thing in football, coaching, you put everything in. It's 18 to 22-year-olds go out there. But, we always used to get rain, coming in from the northwest and the west, from New Mexico. And my granddad would always say, if a storm ever comes from the east, you better be careful. That's where a lot of the damaging winds, the hail, tornadoes, this, that, and the other, those can wipe your crops out. And storms you better look out for. And, I think our team, they saw, we talked about it, the other team's approach was north, north, north. They're focused on the north, winning in the north, national championship in the north. And, I think our team took offense to that. And, there's a little storm brewing in the east, and these guys out here in the piney woods have been doing some good things and have stuck together. We've got a good team, a good nucleus. Guys stuck with each other, didn't jump in the portal for greener grass. And they're getting together. And that storm was pretty destructive Saturday night, and so that was good to see. And I think our best football is still ahead of us, and that's what's encouraging. We got a lot we got to improve on this week, and it was a dominant win, but it could have been so much cleaner, so much better, and we got to get some things fixed. We're still behind.
And then just health-wise, how are y'all looking heading into this Jackson?
That's where we our training staff, they've been working their tails off. We had, I think we counted up 6 players that did not take a snap of practice leading up to that, and they played. I mean, they got coach put me on the bus. I'm going to play. That's a tribute to the locker room, the chemistry we've got there, because they're playing for each other. This is an easy game, easy day and age to be selfish. I'll save myself for another time. And those guys played, and then you jump into the game. And in the first 3 series, we lose our starting left guard, we lose our starting center, we lose our starting outside receiver. And injuries, we always say it, injuries equal what?
Opportunities.
Hey, even she knows. Injuries equal opportunities. And guys stepped up in that game. It's a big game. And without flinching, jumped in there and picked up the pace and still played at a high level. But we've got some of those guys that are hurt, that we've got to get back, that played at 75-80%. We need them to be 100. There are some guys that are still out 4 to 5 weeks. We need them back in 3 to 4 weeks, and that's where I think this week is really important. Everybody's beat up and everybody's got injuries. I'm not, singing the blues, but we've got to get healthier to be able to. We're coming through the meat of our schedule. It's the halfway point. Week number 7 next week, opponent number 7, and then Nichols will be a very physical ball game. I mean, it may be first 1 to 10 wins in that game, and we saw that last year. You see that in their play this year, and so we've got to get healthy, get our jaw set for a tough one here, homecoming, staring us down the fate here 12 days from now.
Yeah. And we've already kind of talked about the awards, obviously. Southard with the National Player of the Week, Sam Bidlack, the 3rd straight week that you've seen a Jack win the Conference Offensive Player of the Week award. Really just talk about Sam and just kind of how he's been able to steadily improve throughout the season so far, especially obviously against Houston. We don't have to talk about that game.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
And against ACU, and then just how he's improved throughout this season so far.
Right. Again, team award. Great to see it. It's awesome to see 3 weeks in a row with Southland Conference Player of the Week. Last year, I thought we got our players got hosed. I think a lot of that was the bias of us having left the conference and coming back. And we had some outstanding performances last year that went unnoticed. I think people have let bygones be bygones now and are calling it square. So it's good to see. And Sam's play. He was always attack, never timid, and that's our motto on offense. And I think to start the season, he was throwing off his back foot a little bit. I saw it. Other coaches saw it. Opposing coaches saw it. And that's coming back. That's knocking the rust off. That's getting confidence back in yourself. It's also getting a feel for who we have on offense and what the surrounding cast is. But I think you've seen his play. we weren't happy with how we played. We weren't happy getting shut out. Well, I'll tell you what, Sam Vidlak was a guy that was not happy with the way he was playing, and he's worked hard and been very intentional in his approach to the game. And there wasn't a guy that was more fired up in that locker room after this last one, because he was stepping in there, standing tall in the pocket, staring down the barrel of we said we've got to, attack their aggression. And they blitzed 7 and they blitzed 6, and they paid nearly every time they did with either a first down or a big ball touchdown, because he stood in there and delivered it. And there were some great catches being made. I mean, our receivers is the best I've seen them play this year, and maybe in 3 or 4 years as a unit. And so, but really good for Sam. And again, there's still some throws. We had some throws he tried to do a little too much and put the ball in jeopardy a time or two. So he's got some things still to clean up. And offensively, I think they're still, and defensively. I mean, we got a really good defense. It's putting up some great stats nationally. We're one of the worst teams in the country on 3rd and extra long, and that should be where you're the very best. So, we've got things to clean up there, things to clean up on offense, special teams. They out-schemed us on a few things this past week, and did some things that put us in stress, and we've got to get better there as well. So. Excited about Jack's week and the chance to improve that.
Yeah, you talked about some of the big catches. I know the Kylon. I believe Kylon touchdown was on the ESPN top 10. So obviously
number 8,
yeah,
Kylon at the pylon.
But yeah, the momentum plays. You talked about that a bunch. Being able to turn turnovers into quick touchdowns, big play touchdowns, things like that. But like last year, some of the losses y'all had, i.e. against McNeese State's one that's coming to mind with the obviously Hail Mary touchdown at the end of half. Just talk about being able to take advantage of turnovers and just be able to create momentum and just be able to really take advantage of it.
Yeah, I don't know what that McNeese game had to do with that. Why you had to take my mind back to that? That was a tough one, right? But, no, I think our guys, you win or you learn. And this is a veteran ball club. We were able to retain and reward and hang on to our team from 24 to 25. And we did have some tough losses last year, but we learned some things in that, and I think some of those hard, tough lessons that we learned, I think, are paying dividends this year in our approach to the game, and how we're playing a little bit better complementary football, how we're playing smarter football, and you saw us in this game. We were able to be aggressive with some timeouts, do a better job with our time management, and we were throwing a Hail Mary at the end of the half, and that's gaining the possession. We didn't score on it, but that's one more chance we had to where you give yourself 1 or 2 more possessions each game. We're not going to beat everybody, by 3 touchdowns, and there's going to be some tough games moving forward, specifically homecoming, and when it comes down to a 1-score game, those extra possessions or those life lessons that have been learned in the past will pay dividends in winning some close ones, and that's where we've got to get some things cleaned up, special teams wise and penalty wise. I like that we're celebrating, and that was an amazing catch back to the receivers and the play that they had. My gosh, Isaiah Davis says an unbelievable play. That could have been SportsCenter top 10. But then, when we're celebrating with our team and he does a backflip over on our sideline that got flagged, you put it in the officials' hands. It's their discretion. And now we're kicking off from the 20. We had a rough in the passer on their 1 touchdown. Now we're playing hands team on our 50, on our 40-yard line. And so those type of penalties in a tight game can come back and haunt you. So that's just another area we've got a chance to improve and clean up. But all in all, they really, back to your point, receivers made some great catches, and we were able to really stick a knife in them, dagger in them. We call them dagger drives, dagger plays, and those were, you can feel the morale leave the stadium when we were able to answer some of those big plays with big touchdowns and really just put that game out of reach.
Coach, one more for you here before we let you get back to Jack's week. A couple of days ago, your father was honored, West Texas A&M, kind of their Hall of Honor, their Hall of Fame. Just talk a little bit about that and how significant that is for him and for you, obviously having coached under him and having him on staff here.
Right. No, it was a tremendous honor, for my dad, and congratulations to him. That's, I think, his 4th Hall of Fame to go in. So we call him the OG and the GOAT, and I think it was awesome for him. A lot of our players and coaches, you know, because they knew he wasn't going to be there. He's usually with us each week, and so really tickled for him. And he had 60 or 70 players show back up, and so what a neat weekend for he and my mom. You know, my mom's the real hero. She's the one that's made, you know, at last count over 19,000 brownies throughout the career for players on Friday night and bus trips. So neat honor for them, neat weekend. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to be there. Had a game in San Antonio, but he understood, and that really capped it off. And it was a great weekend all the way around. I mean, heck, it doesn't get much better than Saturday. You know, I got up and went for a walk on the river walk, and which is awesome. You know, and then went over. I walked down to the Alamo. Took my hat off, paid my respects to sacrifices that were made there. Played a big-time college football game, Division I football, and guys just played their tails off, completely dominated that. And on the ride home, crushed a full pint of Bluebell ice cream at Buc-ee's, you know, all in a 24-hour, really like a 18-hour period. And my dad went to the West Texas A&M Hall of Fame, so I don't know if I've had many more days as good as that. So it was a good one. Congrats, Dad. I love you. Appreciate all you do for us, for me, and for the Lumberjacks. So you get a pass on missing that game, but you better be here for homecoming.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate you joining us.
You bet. Axel.